What's up, guys, and welcome to Khan's Comic Corner. I've got a few reviews that I want to do for this week in comics. Not really the big stack that I was hoping for, but hey, what I got, there's some pretty good shit in here and some really great shit in here as well. Just kind of work my way down the list. I've got two independent books in here and wrap out the rest of this review with some Marvels. So let's get this going. Let's start off with BPRD, Hell on Earth, number 107. This is No One is Safe in the Wasteland. Mike Mignola is doing the writing, and we have John Arcudi on the art, who is kind of emulating Mignola's art style in this, but he kind of brings his own twist to it a little bit. I'm going to be honest, the BPRD has kind of fallen off a little bit to me in the last year or so. I've still been reading it, and the stories are good, but it's kind of dragging a little bit in some areas. Last couple of issues was a little bit of a flashback in the Mountains of Madness type style, with a little bit of Hyborian mythology thrown in. And this issue decides to go and explore kind of Clone War style a little bit, random BPRD agents. We're focusing in on one guy in particular. Him and Johan are the only survivors of a squad of BPRD agents that were sent into a town to try and stop one of the mysterious creatures, one of the children of the Okju Jihad that they've been dealing with for quite some time, since the whole Black Flame mess went down. And it's a giant cephalopod that spews gas and causes anybody that breathes it to turn into very horrible monsters. People who have read a lot of Mike Mignola stuff, this is not really anything new. We're kind of reliving Conqueror Worm and Plague of Frogs a little bit again. But it's still not a bad story. It kind of borrows quite a lot from at least the first season of The Walking Dead, especially with the way that they spell out the story of one of the survivors of the town, because the man and his son that they find are kind of reminiscent of the two characters that Rick Grimes ran into in the first season of The Walking Dead before he reunited with his family. And basically the town is overrun. The giant octopus is spewing out the gas, and there are more of the mole monsters again that are hard to take out. And this particular BPRD agent and Johan must work together to stop it, and it's quite some interesting stuff going on. And pretty much the book ends with a cliffhanger of them camped out on the outskirts of town, and they're fucking surrounded by enemies. This is pretty good, you know, in the usual flair of the BPRD, but I'm still reading this mostly because I collect it too, but I still like it, but it's kind of waning a little bit. This is a lot of been there and done that, and I kind of wish that we'd be progressing a little bit better, pick up at a little bit better pace. Abe is kind of missing from this book. They've got another miniseries out with him doing his own thing right now, and please, can somebody just hurry up and tell us where the fuck Liz is right now? Because I really like to see her back. Overall, this is an okay book. If you're a reader of this, you're going to enjoy it as much as you usually do. Newcomers to it, not really the best place to start. A lot of heavy backtracking. You're going to find some good stuff in the backtracking, but this is definitely not a good jumping on point for the series. Next up, we move on over to Dynamite, and kind of thank Chris for this, even though he didn't recommend, or he didn't personally recommend it to me, but I decided to, you know, listen to some of the pulp reviews that he does in his comic reviews, and I decided to pick up Green Hornet by Mark Waid. This is issue 2 of the series. Also picked up issue 1. Excuse me. Not really familiar with the Green Hornet outside of Britt Reed or Kato or any of the major mythology surrounding it. But apparently this is Britt Reed Jr. who is posing as the Green Hornet, and in this story we come to find out that he's asserting himself as the top dog of a lot of the mob bosses in the city in which they dwell. And Britt is also using the power of the press to expose these guys and take them down. And he's kind of learning some hard lessons along the way, too. About mostly when he attacks certain people, like there's a particular governor in this book who is known for a lot of corrupt things. And when he goes after him, he kind of finds some hard matters with the fact that a lot of the advertisers that pay for ads in his paper kind of withdraw, and he has to deal with that. Also, at the same time, too, when he goes out as the Green Hornet, he's got some really badass bluffing techniques that he uses in this, and Kato has to do something which I actually dropped my jaw at in surprise, and even though they do manage to kind of bluff out the guy that Britt and Kato had gone after, Kato was a smartass in this book to Britt, and I fucking love that. Also added to which, the art in this by Daniel Indro is just really nice. It's kind of a Chris Samney a little bit. Kind of reminds me of the artist from Daredevil, but it's still some pretty solid stuff. And interestingly enough, since they've decided to acquire the rights to this for Dynamite along with some other properties, we seem to have indications of a shared universe with a lot of the pulp characters. And issue 1 of the series even went so far as to say that the Reed family is of distant relations to a certain Western hero that Dynamite also has, and this character even has a movie coming out later on this summer. Quite a stretch, but still interesting nevertheless. This is good stuff. I absolutely recommend it, and I really want to go and try some more of these pulp heroes from Dynamite. Good stuff in there. Next up, we move on to Ultimate Comics Spider-Man issue 23. Spider-Man No More. Yeah, we've kind of been there and done this before a lot in the mainstream universe, but now we're kind of tackling the story with Miles Morales a little bit. And we do a time jump in this story. This takes place a year after the Venom War, which went on from the last few issues, and which I'm going to say, character-wise, those issues are very well written, but I do have to critique it that the Venom character in that story sucked. Not just because it was Eddie Brock, but they kind of built up this mystery about Venom, and they never explained who he was, and he just wound up being some guy. I think that was really the only disappointing aspect of the particular story arc. But with this issue right here, it's primarily character stuff. For those of you who didn't know, Miles' mother was killed in by accidental fire when she tried to help some victims from the police. And Miles and his father have kind of moved on from this, and apparently Miles has got himself a girlfriend now in Ultimate Kate Bishop. The issue here is comprised mostly of conversations. One that takes place in between him and Ganke, one between Miles and his father, and then one in between Miles and Spider-Woman, and Gwen Stacy also winds up making an appearance in this. But basically, it tantamounts to the big conversations in this are that Gwen and Spider-Woman are trying to tell him, hey, you know, it's been long enough. You really need to get back to what you're doing. And Miles is just kind of shrugging it off right now, which is understandable considering what he had gone through. Really good stuff going on in here. Not really too much of this issue I want to spoil, and plus for the fact that we are looking at some action next issue with the appearance of two particular Marvel supervillains who are making their ultimate debut in this issue. I'm kind of babbling on about this. Bendis is hitting all the right notes in this as far as character-wise. And we have Dave Marquez, who is doing the art in this issue. And no Sir Pacelli, but he's definitely making this book his own right now. I fucking love this book, and this is really a good jumping on point for the series. Highly recommend this. Best of the Ultimate books without question. Now moving along to mainstream Marvel. Out of the 616, it is Wolverine and the X-Men, number 29. Jason Aaron and... who is this? Ramon Perez on the artwork. Greetings from the Jean Grey School of Tomorrow. We're kind of taking a future tense approach to the story. Basically, what's going on is that we have Wolverine gathering up and giving a speech in front of the student body and the faculty at the Jean Grey School. And they're wanting to leave a time capsule behind, and he's kind of explaining, sort of reinforcing the idea that he wants the X-Men to kind of fulfill the dream of Charles Xavier that they failed to fill when Xavier was still alive. And while all this is going on, there's some interesting character stuff that takes place in between a lot of them, particularly with Edie in this book. The stuff with old Logan in this is really good, especially in the future. You can see him with the old Bamfs. They actually dig something up, and there's kind of a message from the future, from old Logan to present Logan, that kind of is going to make a big impact on a lot of things that are to come. We've been building a lot with the Hellfire Club since this series started, and I've really been annoyed that we haven't really done anything with them. A lot of it has just been building up with them. We get an interesting development in this, especially concerning Dog Logan in it, and then we have a finale to this issue of another recruit to the Hellfire Club who I absolutely dropped my jaw at. I kind of knew it was coming, but I still didn't want to believe it, and it was kind of depressing to me, actually, but still pretty good. The series is mostly... it's been some build-up. There's some interesting character stuff going on, but I want something to actually happen. The good thing is that this series does go and at least address a lot of the foreshadowing of things that are to come, and hopefully we can start getting down to business in this book. But the character stuff is the strongest point of this book, and I absolutely loved it. Really great stuff in here. Now, finally we move over to the book that really impacted me the most this week. This is X Factor number 256. Peter David is doing the writing, and Leonard Kirk on this. This is the Hell on Earth War conclusion. And we have Mephisto, who is popped up with a giant castle in the middle of New York City. And we get some twists and turns involving the other Hell Lords that were supposedly slain in this. There's a lot of shock that comes up with Tyr and what his role is in trying to take these guys out. Not really a good idea to spoil too much of X Factor, but there's some major twists in this. Hang on a second, I'll let you out. We have some losses in this book. Like, Monet was the major loss from X Factor last issue. We have a couple of other losses which come up in this book. And furthermore to the fact, there is the winner which is crowned out of the Hell on Earth contest in between the Hell Lords. And I can guarantee that before you sit down to read this, you would not have seen this coming. Everybody is shocked by the outcome. You get that major twist halfway through this book, and then the big jaw-dropping reveal at the end of this book about who it is. Wow. Like, Peter David, I love you, but seriously, what the hell have you done with this? I did not see this coming at the end of this book. And you know you're reading good X Factor when you cannot find words for the good that Peter David does with his cliffhangers. This right here is definitely my pick of the week out of the stack. It is that fucking good. Really going to be sad to see this guy leave after he finishes up his tenure on X Factor, but I can definitely understand why he wants to go ahead and wrap it up. This has been a blast to read, and we still have a little bit more to go, but I don't know how you could top what we just saw in this book. So do yourselves a favor, go pick this up. I guarantee you'll love it. It got to be everybody's pick of the week, unless you wind up reading something better that I just don't have a hold of. So that pretty much does it for my comic reviews this week. I hope you guys enjoyed them, and until next time, I will catch y'all later, so peace.